Which one would I buy is something that I was asked quite recently at the end of a live stream, I think. And well, it's actually been the title of 2 videos now, because my little trip to Scotland was also titled, Which One Would I Buy? And well, I left that kind of open-ended at the end there, not sure whether I should say that is exactly which one I should buy, because it's a difficult choice. I've often said that right now the best, and currently in the top 10, the number 1 is the Note Air 3C, and I stand by that. That is the best for most people. Right now, the Boox Note Air 3C, I think for most people, that is the best. And well, that isn't really my favorite. I have been looking at it for a long time. I have been working with these ink tablets for some time, and there's been new releases just recently. We've got the Boox Go 10.3 coming, which should be really exciting. Would I wait for that? We've also got the A5X2 coming. Would I wait for that? Indeed. Well, it's a difficult choice, I know, and I know a lot of you are exactly where I was at 3 years ago. I was in that place. I was trying to decide which ink tablet was the right one for me, and I was in that analysis paralysis that a lot of you are in right now. And well, I ended up going for the safe option. I ended up going originally for the Remarkable one. And well, it was at the time, it was one of the cheaper options, and well, it was good. But in reality, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have done that. One of the options at the time was the A5X. And I discounted that because it was too expensive really for what it was. And I had eliminated books as they were at the time. I thought they were too expensive for what they were, and I felt they were still developing their software, and they still kind of are, to be honest. You're with books, you feel like you're in a perpetual public beta, especially if you're in the beta program, of course. But more on that later on when we talk a bit more about books, I think. But now they're a much better proposition than they were then. There were also these sort of China brands that are still out there. Boyu is the one at the time that was going around. It was cheaper. I'm very glad I didn't go for one of those, because it was really limited, that Boyu device, and it only had a capacitive stylus. It was very meh. And there are still some China brands, but of course they're designed for the Chinese market, and so you're going to have limited support for US, UK, European, and different languages as well. So that was difficult. And the Supernote are, they're exactly how they are now. Brilliant reviews, great software, but really expensive and almost unavailable. And certainly in the UK, they were very difficult to buy. I think when this one came into my hands, it was probably one of the only A5Xs in the UK. I'm going to try my best to break it down for you where I'm at right now and what I would buy right now in this live stream tonight. And I think it's difficult because you've got even more choice with the new Boox Go 10.3 as well. And I remember that time at sort of 3 in the morning is when I actually bought that first tablet. I'd woken up and I'd been thinking about this for quite some time. I've been thinking, I really want one of these. I really do want an e-ink tablet. I know it's going to help me at work. I'm sick of using a paper planner. I think this is going to do really, really well. And I remember at 3 in the morning, I'd woken up and I remember holding my phone and thinking, right, I'm going to just do it. I'm sure this is the right answer. And I had my wife actually sleeping beside me, and I thought she probably wouldn't approve. But so I thought, I just do it. And I sort of hit that trigger, and, I felt, yeah. At the time, immediately, I was like, yeah, I made the right choice. And I got it, and I thought I made the right choice. And I reviewed it, and, well, here we are 4 years later, still talking about these things. And, well, I thought maybe it was a bit of a cop-out at the time. And if I knew now, I wouldn't have bought the Remarkable. So, well, where are we up to right now? I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to get on it. Just going to say hello to a few folks. Thanks very much for joining me. Indeed, it's really good to see you all here. Let me know that everything's working nice and loud and clear on the live stream. I've not got any issues with the sound that I've had in the last couple. And yeah, it certainly is very useful for normal daily use cases. We'll talk more as we talk about books a little bit later on. And is it more you use your device as a pen and paper? Certainly it was originally, Faisal. It was originally that, yeah, it was just pen and paper, and definitely Remarkable and Supernote. If you just want pen and paper, you should probably stick there, I think. And yeah, this interesting one here, Boox has too many models. And okay, I was asked specifically for me to compare all of the Boox models. So I'm going to do that later on. Stick around for that. I'm going to go through in this live stream. We'll talk about every single Boox model that you can currently get hold of. And I'll talk about those. And yeah, it feels unnecessarily convoluted. And I'm going to talk about how you can actually make the distinction and decide between them. Very glad. Palmer for Instapaper, yeah. Tab Mini Comics, Tab Ultra Graphic Novels, yeah, good. You've got it, Sebum, yeah. I'm considering the Boox Go 10.3. I think the Go 10.3 is going to be excellent, to be honest. I'm really excited to see that coming. Go 7 is, well, I should have an unboxing of that for you soon, and we will see. So right now, well, it would be a really tough choice between two devices for me. For what I would buy right now, I wouldn't buy the Note Air 3. I wouldn't buy the Note Air 3C, not because they're not great, but they wouldn't be in my top two that I'd be umming and erring between. And I think that I would certainly be umming and erring between Supernote and Boox. If I was to be buying one right now, these are the two that would be most prominent in my mind. It would be Supernote and Boox. And well, the only reason I would buy a Note Air 3C is if I really thought to myself that I really didn't want to do mainly productivity type things. I wanted to keep it reading and notes, and I wanted Android. I would personally be weighing up between the Tab Ultra C Pro and the Supernote. So I'm going to get these two in shot now, the Tab Ultra C Pro and the Supernote. And I would be thinking to myself, which one would I get between these? And it would be quite a difficult decision. Not even quite a difficult decision. It would be a very difficult decision because it would be about how I was planning on using them. And these are the two. And okay, I'll just really briefly, why would I not get this personally? Because personally, I think that I'm the type of person that tends to go for the ultra of things. I'm the type of person that tends to go for the pro model, the higher spec model. And honestly, I can tell you that the e-ink screen does perform noticeably better if you do them side by side. And I do have a side by side of that. And I'll come up once I get talking about this e-ink screen in a moment, I'll show that. And maybe later when we compare them as well. But certainly this is a great choice. So if you know that this big clunky keyboard and the sort of less rounded edges and the camera bumper things that you don't need at all, just for the entire rest of this segment, just replace the Note Air 3C with this, because that is a great choice as well. And for many of you, if you're thinking note taking and you're thinking slim and lighter, then it's probably between these two. And again, you can read this one because you can't actually buy this one right now. You can read this Supernote as being the A5X2 because it will be great. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. And you can't currently buy the A5X. Similarly, you could read this as being the A6X2. And I'm actually going back. This is at the A6X. And my wife had been using this for a long time. But now I've given the A6X2 to her, and now I'm going to use this as my little pocketable one, because actually I really did enjoy having a small notepad, a small journal. I'm going to be doing lots of journaling on there. And of course, then you could see this as being the Tab Mini C if you knew that was your size. So we're really just talking about these two brands. These, knowing what I know now, these are the two I would be trying to decide between for which one I would be buying. Do I buy Supernote or do I buy Boox? And well, it would be a really tough choice. And I would be leaning towards the Supernote, as I could do all of the Android things on my phone, on my, I've got the Fold 3. It's a large screen. I could do all of my Android things on here and be very, very happy doing that. But, and then I'd have this as my notes and my planner and everything. I'd be really, really happy. I can draw in the middle. I could draw on this screen inside the Fold 3 as well. I can make notes on that. But nothing really would compare to e-ink for note-taking. And Supernote is the top for e-ink note-taking, in my opinion. And yeah, this actually, as I'm just reading my notes here, it actually came out of a comment, as I've just said. This person who, I can't actually remember the name of the person that asked this, but I said in brackets at the end of it, you might just have inspired a whole video with your question there. Which one would I buy right now? And in fact, you inspired 2 videos. So good on you. Thanks so much for you all being in the comments and asking these great questions. It's really great. It's why I do these stuff. And honestly, I think that difficult decision would probably come down to like which mood I was in, like right when I was buying that, right when I was making that choice. And now they've added the 10.3 in here, even closer. You know, you can get a good enough note-taking experience on Boox. I think you get that really sleek design. That's got a really great price compared to the Supernote. That would be difficult, wouldn't it? $380 for the Go 10.3. Plays probably going to be launching somewhere north of $500. The Supernote A5X2. It's a really difficult thing. So, you know, maybe it would be another choice in here as well. And there's something about the Supernote, which is going to sound crazy to you, because of course it's really cool to get to test out all these devices and use them and make content on them, you know, have brands want to send you things and do these things. I'm not complaining at all, but there are times when I really just, you know, I kind of fantasize about just sticking with one platform. And if you want to get involved in note taking on just one platform, and I do, you know, this is why I've sort of brought the A6X back into my life, is because I want to spend more time journaling. You know, I've started this journal called a real journal, and I've just finished Essentialism. I'm going to talk about my last note in this real journal was just like less but better. You know, that's the kind of principle of Essentialism. I'm just going to try my best to write less in my journal, but better. And I kind of think about, you know, I wish I was just living with one e-ink tablet at times and just really focusing on enjoying reading and writing on that. And this would be a great platform to do that. The Supernote is great for that. Really great for that. And if you want to just get involved, go for it. And what's more, I really enjoy sketching on here as well. And that's something I love to do on e-ink, is to sketch as well. My rainy kind of sketching day in London was absolutely brilliant. I had a wonderful time sketching on this thing. And so, yeah, I would be thinking to myself, actually, this has got everything that I need. And this isn't the same question as what's best. It's about what can fit in with more people. And I think, you know, really, I do think that perhaps the Boox platform fits in with more people. Although I think this leans towards, the Supernote leans more towards people who are looking for something more intuitive, more simple, more easy to use, more sticking you and keeping you in that kind of flow state. If you're a reader, writer, drawer, and you just want something to stay in the flow on, I think this might suit more people. But if you've got a wider workflow in mind, if you want your e-ink tablet to fit in with more workflows, then I think the Tab Ultra C Pro is the one that is going to do it for you. The Boox tablets are the one that are going to do it for you more. So that's why I think, honestly, and I've flitted backwards and forwards between which one I'm going to say I should buy right now. I'd be going to buy one of these, and the last minute I'd kind of swerve, and I think I'd end up buying a Boox device, either the Tab Ultra C Pro, well, it would be the Tab Ultra C Pro for me, or the Note Air 3C kind of lineup, or now the Go 10.3, of course. I'd be swerving towards Boox. And as I said, if you're just joining at this point, later on in this live stream, I am going to go through every Boox tablet you can currently get and talk through those as well. I think there'd be a point where I was working on the Supernote and I'd want to edit the writing. And then I'd get frustrated that it wasn't Android. So you can see this script, this thing that I'm just talking through right now. I've talked about this bit where I've, you know, been sort of fantasizing about having a simple life where I could just work in the Supernote. And then I would get to this point where I'd want to actually put that out there, and I'd want to actually publish that. I'd want to actually work in Google Drive or in Word or anything like that. And I think then I'd think, oh, I wish this had a full Android and was a Boox. Sure, you can sideload, but it isn't the same as having the full Google Play Store. And I think now that's what I do. I think some people called me on it and said that's definitely what Kit's going for, is the Tab Ultra C Pro. I think, yeah, I think I'd go with the most versatile, the most capable. I think this is the one that I would buy right now. I'm actually going to go back to this next, the Tab Ultra C Pro. I'm going to my Supernote's not going anywhere. It's going to sit here on the desk, and it's going to be my really quick desk jotter. But I'm going to go back to the Tab Ultra C Pro next, because I've just finished. No, I haven't finished. I'm using this next week and going to enjoy using it next week, actually, working with the Lenovo. But I've kind of formulated a lot of my opinions on this Lenovo P12 Pro. Great device. And I'm thinking to myself that a lot of the stuff that I've really enjoyed working on here, using it more as a sort of Windows, not Windows rather, but using it more as a sort of Microsoft machine, and a lot of note-taking things as well on it. I've really enjoyed that on here, the P12 Matte, but it's not giving me that kind of restful e-ink time. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I remember the time when I really enjoyed using the Tab Ultra C Pro. You see, it's not always perfect, especially not in its PC mode. But things like using split screen apps really easily on here, I am going to go back to enjoying being able to quickly use split screen apps here on the Tab Ultra C Pro. And just picking up again and sort of getting it set up and getting it ready. And you can see these badged apps on here, which I've been using on the Lenovo. I have also been using those badged apps. You can see that. You can see I've got my work email open just there. That's what I'm talking about. If you're not sure, I'm talking about badged apps. You see the OneNote app there. That is a personal OneNote app. That's where all my planning and notes currently are. And the little email had a little sort of briefcase next to it, which is a work mode. And so on here as well, I've got my work email in a totally separate app to my ordinary email. And I've got right next to each other my work OneNote and my personal OneNote. And so I'm going to use OneNote on the Boox tablet, which of course you can use the pen input on. And it's pretty good, actually. And what it's going to do, it's going to do a sort of preview and then print into it. I'm going to actually use OneNote on there because I've enjoyed having those notes arrive on all different places and here on the desktop as well, and my work computer for my work stuff, and this tablet for that. But actually, I'm going to miss that extra size. I am going to miss going back to this. Just for comparison, you can't see it because my mug is in the way. Just for comparison, the extra real estate you're going to get is sort of all this section off to the side here. And that's quite a lot when you're talking about multitasking. So actually, I am going to miss that extra bit of space there. Hope I didn't scratch the lovely screen, maybe a little bit there. I am going to miss that extra real estate, I'm sure, but I'm not going to miss the LCD for that purpose. It's a great screen. If you know you need an LCD and you want a bit more of a comfortable reading experience, a bit more of a matte feel for note-taking, that's a great option. But I'm not going to miss the LCD screen. And what I am going to get periods of time where it's a bit more restful for my eyes to be able to work on this tablet rather than another LCD screen in my life. I want to also draw your attention why this is so good. And just look at this. And actually going back to it now, I've realized how easy it would be to actually live in this ultra fast mode. I've tended to stay in the balance mode. But whereas with this, I don't know why it's gone to that mode there. I'll just pull it out of its keyboard case because I think it tends to sort of go back to horizontal mode when it's in its keyboard case, which makes some sense, I suppose. But right now in this ultra fast mode, you don't lose a lot of the quality. And you can see it's super zippy for getting around. What should we look at? I'll go back to OneNote, why not? And it does clear out that white space really nicely straight afterwards. Now, I want to make that comparison directly with the Note Air 3C. I think I've got the 3 in front of me rather than the 3C. Yeah, that's the 3 and that's the 3C there. And actually, I think in the Note Air 3C, I think I'd be better off living in the balance mode, and the ultra fast wouldn't be quite so good. but certainly the ultrafast gets nowhere. Certainly the ultrafast is way better than the X mode is, or any of the speed modes are on the non-BSR tablets. And as I said, being the type of person that tends to sort of max out settings and aim for those things there, I think I'd end up using that. So I'm really optimistic how that's going to go anyway at work. Again, I know it's going to be good because I've used it for quite a long time at work before and really enjoyed it. I think the one thing is how much heavier it is with the keyboard case. And I think there's a simplicity to the Note Air sort of style devices that are really desirable, and a lot of people, you know, will appeal to a lot of people. But here we are then, let's get these up side by side. So I've got the two exact same screens. Both of them have BSR. Let's see how they really compare. Going backwards and forwards. Both of them have got not a great amount of front light on, sort of similar-ish. Both of them in the ultra fast mode. Yeah, I think it's noticeably quicker on the better processor there. And if I can find the sort of same, you know, see how crisp it is here. That's absolutely fine. If I go, you know, let me just change straight into the HD, so it should be like the best it looks. Actually, you don't lose a lot going to that ultra fast refresh mode. That's the benefit. Now it doesn't have to do full screen refreshes, and it looks really, really good. Let's see, this is in ultra fast. Look at that same YouTube sign there. Can you see that looks less clear? And then the difference between that and HD mode on here, that looks much better in HD compared to the ultra fast, which looks a little bit more washed out. Maybe that's a little bit more academic. But certainly, if I go onto the non-BSR device, not right now, please, another new firmware. I'll bring that up quite quickly. And I'm currently in speed. Let's go from normal, looking really good and crisp there, to X. Look how much you drop when you go to X with the non-BSR. Look how much clarity you drop. And here's a, you know, that's a menu page in Google Docs on the fast mode, the X mode rather. Sure, I won't spend much time in that. A2 looks far better. Still is a really smeary mess here. And normal mode is fine, but it goes into X mode when it scrolls, and then it refreshes when you stop. Sometimes. Must have changed the thing. But this normal mode is fine, but look how scrolling just isn't the same. Certainly does refresh most of the time. It's gone back into X for this. Go into Chrome again. Anyway, it is noticeably better working in on the best processor. So this now is in X, and you see it's a smeary mess. Total loss of contrast and clarity. So you want to go into one of the better modes. Looks superb in normal mode. Scroll and then refresh. Whereas right up to the other end, what am I even in at the minute? Balance. So let's go for HD. Looks fine. There is still ghosting in the color areas. But right to the other end, ultra fast, you haven't lost a lot of that clarity. And look how it still just removes the ghosting in the white areas. Look at that bit of text that was there. Look at it just get deleted over time. That's the benefit of those ultra fast processor, and that does it better on there than it does on the Note Air 3C. Not by massive amounts, but enough that I think that knowing that, see, I think that has cleared less there. Knowing that, I would go for the Tab Ultra C Pro. So cool. There we are. And I didn't think we talked about that as much at the time. I didn't really think that at the time when we first get into grips with the difference between these two devices, the Note Air 3C and the Tab Ultra C Pro, I don't think that we really all focused on that as much as maybe we could, that actually having the faster processor really does give you better performance. No NSS, right? Of course it gives you better performance to have a faster processor, but the impact on the e-ink tablets, because we're used to this, conventional wisdom is you don't need a great processor on e-ink, but actually having the 8 series processor, the faster processor in there, does make a difference. And for using it like I intend to use it with all of these Office 365 apps, for productivity purposes, I think actually having that extra processing power is going to do really quite good things for me. We will see. I'm just looking forward to trying it all out again. And yeah, so we're looking at a 6225 here in the Note Air series, and we're looking at an 8 series. 825, somewhere along that. I could go to CPU-Z, I suppose, or Geekbench. And yeah, it doesn't say the actual one there, but CPU-Z. So it does. What do they call it? Nope. Oh, there is it. 855 it is. 855. And it's a good processor. Okay, it's a little bit out of date, and it only allows it to run on Android 12. And something that we've been talking about, and Voice said recently on a video, is like, it would be great if Boox would just commit to giving us the latest and best chips. Give us the latest MediaTek Dimensity. Dimensities are going into the Bigme devices now, but they aren't the very latest ones. Give us a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. All right, I know it's going to cost more, but give us the best. Give us the option of the best, even. Make it. A lot of companies make a Tab Ultra C Pro, or they make their tablet, and then they give you a few spec options. And give us that. Okay, maybe. And I would love to see, and I've said this a fair bit recently, I would love to see Boox actually make a 12-inch device. That's the size of the P12. That's the size there. Make a 12-inch, bigger keyboard, better for that multitasking purpose. Put a really up-to-date processor into it, but just give us that 12-inch Kaleido-free screen that is out there. It's in the not Hisense. It's in the Dassault monitor, and I think that would be really impeccable. I think that would be amazing for multitask. Give us a PC mode as well, like the P12 has as well. It's fascinating, isn't it? And the market is really poised. I'm going to fire through some questions in a moment as well. And the market is really poised with this new Boox as well. But really, I would buy a Boox right now. It's really fascinating. And Supernote, I think that Supernote are doing great things with the software, with that drawing software, with all of their ideas, their desktop app as well coming out. All of those things are really great from Supernote. Boox and Bigme are really pushing the hardware. I think Boox are a bit ahead on that, but still, they're really making the hardware better all the time. And Remarkable, of course, are leading the way with marketing. And the biggest tech brands, they're watching and they're kind of waiting. We've got a Kindle Scribe, of course, but we've got a Lenovo. We could have more from them. Or Lenovo, if you're interested, if you're watching, just make me exactly this, please, but put the 12-inch e-ink screen on top. Sure, the matte screen's nice, but exactly this with a 12-inch e-ink screen, let it run Android just like that. Fabulous. As long as you can figure out whatever Boox have done there, ring up Boox and partner with them and put BSR technology in it. Do something like that. I think it would be absolutely incredible. I'd buy Boox right now. If you currently can't buy the Supernote, and I'm going to give you a bit of a full rundown of the current Boox lineup. So if you think actually that makes a lot of sense, what Kit's just talked about there, about probably the Boox is still the way to go right now. Sure, I think maybe just stick around to the end, and I'll talk you through the Boox lineup. I'm just going to give myself 30 seconds to catch my breath and have a little look through some of your comments in preparedness for a bit of chat now. and then we'll fire on through the rest of my prepared content for today as well. So warm welcome.
Thanks very much for joining the live stream. Don't forget to pop your questions in the chat, and I'll get onto them at points during the live stream and at the end in a Q&A session. Supers are available though if you do want to highlight your question, and I will try and get to it a bit earlier. Thanks so much if you're watching this on the replay. Feel free to fire in your questions into the main comments section as well, and I'll get around to answering them. If you're watching it after a day or so, you should find it chaptered out, so feel free to skip around. I'm Kit Betsmasters, and this is the Evaluate Everything show. Let's pop over to live, Kit.
Yeah, thanks earlier on, Kit. So my little comments thing is just completely missing on the side here from my streaming software, so I have no idea why that is. I just cannot see any of your comments. They're all back. That's brilliant. So nothing to worry about there. Let's have a look what you were kind of saying there as well. Hello to everybody. Warm welcome, especially to channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. So yeah, not clean on glass screen. So yeah, the Tab Ultra C Pro and the Note Air 3, the series, they do have glass screens, which I think they're quite good. It's not like, doesn't feel smooth like glass. They're more like, they're still textured, but it's glass rather than plastic. So the glass, and if you're more interested in the plastic feel, then I think maybe the Go 10.3 is the one to think about for you. Yeah, went through this process. Yeah, created a flow chart. What size did I want? Do I need a backlight? Yeah, something similar to that coming a little bit later on. And the new ones don't. The new Go 10.3 doesn't have a backlight, so that's interesting. Yeah, decided to buy the Tab Ultra C and loving it. Waiting for the Bigme High break to arrive. Yeah, thanks, Enrique. Glad to hear you. Glad to hear you here. Hope. Yeah, I'm excited for the Bigme High break as well. And that price point, somebody said that price point is enough to give it a bit of a test out and see how it goes as well. So you know, that is a really good sort of way into an e-ink smartphone for that one there. Want to read books and annotate directly on them? Yeah. Absolutely. I think that is the core use case of an e-ink tablet, and there's some great ones out there for that. Actually went and found the Palmer, didn't impress that much. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? My sort of first thoughts on it was just like, well, it's great, but if it was a phone, I could carry just it, but I can't do that just yet. And I don't really want to be a 2-device person in my pocket. Thank you. Have the Tab Ultra C, the original. Yeah, great device. Still use that just because it's signed into. So there's something I have to do a meeting, regular meeting on, and it just comes with me to that still because it's signed into that thing for that. Supernote is great for productivity. Yeah, Boox is great for reading comics, and you can read them from whichever library you choose, which of course is fabulous. Remarkable 2 user. Note won't be anytime soon. Foldable ink. Yeah, more portable. That's the thing to do. Yeah, just somebody give me a Z Fold form factor, but with an e-ink screen inside, or even you know, give us the option of the small e-ink screen on the outside, big OLED in the middle, maybe, you know, whichever. There's loads of reasons why that'd be cool. This was a continuation of another one. Yeah, that shrunk the options down a lot. 8-inch and backlight made it clear that it was Nova Air 2 at the time. Great device. Still got that one going in my wheelhouse, and still I had a lot of fun using it. What do you have now? Are you going to carry on with that? Yes, you are. Yeah, he's still cracking on with that. Absolutely. Just for reading and annotating on that one. Yep. Still waiting for a black and white 8-inch. Yeah, 7.8 plastic body. Yeah, I hope there'll be a Go 7.8 with black and white. I think that'd be great. Writing, taking notes, music, and drawing. Right now, probably Supernote. If you only want to write, if you can get make your own music templates if you like. But the thing is, of course, if you had the books, then you could also do extra things like use any apps that might help you with your music creation. Sure, it's not an iPad in terms of how well it can crush pianos and things like that, but you know, it's definitely it's definitely going to give you that versatility that might work well in your workflow for making your music. Loving the Nomad, absolutely. Yeah, 10.3 seems to be what a lot of people are waiting for. Absolutely. Yeah, Boox, I don't think it's going to be any different feel from the Note Air 3. So if you've ever used one of those, it's more of a felt feel. I think that the gold standard is going to be for some time. It's going to be that. It is going to be that Feel Right 2 film from the Supernote and their pen. Is the reason why Boox don't provide YouTubers with units to review? Well, they do. They do for me. So that's where these have come from. I want to talk a little bit about brands working with YouTubers a little bit later on. So stick around for that. Now I'm in the UK, joined the game quite late. It's not into and yeah, that's something I mentioned at the top as well. Actually, it's difficult, but that certainly can recommend some good books about digital minimalism. Start with Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. That is the go-to, really. That's probably the best. I've just read Essentialism, which was also very good, but that sort of follows on from that. Cal Newport's books are the best. Read all three of those. I think there are definitely Cal Newport. Yeah, black and white. Yeah, brilliant. I can't wait for you to try that out and see what you want, see how it is. Thinking a similar thing. Beautiful. Use it every day. Yeah, absolutely, Thomas. Yeah, added obsidian. Yeah, zinc. Yeah, off you go. Brilliant. Only £400 on eBay. Brilliant. Super excited. Rock on. Hope it goes well for you. It is such a great device for reading on. Absolutely. 10.3, it will have Android Store. Yeah, absolutely. It won't have the same refresh rate as the Ultra. It'll have the same as the Note Air 3. So it won't have the BSR. So it will have that difference. The Ultra Fast will be a big degradation in the quality, but the balanced mode, they don't call it balanced mode, the normal mode is really good on them. And so, yeah, if you don't need to be scrolling about loads and using lots of different apps, it's fine to not have the BSR, really. You get better battery life in exchange. Will the Boox 10.3 most likely be a good Bluetooth experience, or rather, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. The Boox are pretty good for typing experience as far as that goes. It won't be as fast. That's another reason why this is so good, because the ultra fast typing experience is really quite good. And I do have sort of typing side by sides somewhere in my library for you to go and have a look back. Yeah. Journaling, no, yeah. Journaling's okay, but struggling with taking meeting notes. Good workflows for meeting notes. Perhaps you want to try something like Otter, which is excellent. I don't have it installed on here, but I do on my phone, and I use that quite a lot. And that can actually it records the whole thing and gives you a meeting summary. You might want to look at the Bigme devices that have the meeting notes option, although I think probably just use Otter on your phone and then have an e-ink tablet that you can make things separately as well. And I think possibly just don't overdo it. Don't expect, whilst you're engaged in talking in meetings, to build out great notes. If you need that, then it's still best to have somebody doing official minutes. Employ somebody, ask somebody to do that, take it in turns. Somebody, do different parts. If you're not important and crucial for a part of a meeting, you take the responsibility for that part of making the minutes, and then pass that to somebody else. There's lots of things like that that are really useful. Yeah, so I've done that one, I think. Yeah, that's a really good one. Oh, great shout there. Yeah, my meeting planner. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My deep guides got some great options for that. Yeah, the 10.3, well, it's replaced all paper to start with, and using the Ultra with the keyboard case replaced sort of other devices as well. It didn't entirely replace a laptop, but it did replace a lot of what it did on the laptop, especially emailing, especially typing, and working on large text files. Go 10.3, it's not metal casing, it's plastic, is it not? I could have got that wrong. We'll see. Cool. I'm going to move on in a moment. There's some really good things here. What I'll do is I'll leave a little star of where I got up to, and I'll go back through some of these a little bit later. Wow, somebody says though the 855 can run the MetaQuest 1. So there we are. So it is the chip in the MetaQuest 1. So that's powerful, isn't it? It's powerful enough. And the 665 is less than Vivo phones. Yeah, okay. Also, sorry, that's you talk about the weight, I think, as well. No, I hope it went well. Don't need to apologize. Absolutely. Do I think books don't end? Let's talk about that a little bit later. I think it's a really interesting point, because the large part of this stream, Ed was talking about, which books should somebody get? And I've just gone through and said, well, actually, what would I buy right now? And I think I'm in an area between the Supernote and the books. And somebody asked me last time, can you just run through all of the, yeah, thank you. I'm glad somebody got that one. I mean, did you see that? Did you think that when you first saw that launch, you thought, oh, great, oh, that's good. They're already getting into this like analog digital that everyone's really digging on right now. Everyone's buying record players. Vinyl was outstripping sales of CDs. Finally again, and then Apple were just like, yeah, crush all that great stuff. All those instruments everyone loves. The tactile nature. No, you want a sheet of glass. We don't want a sheet of glass. We want a paper tablet. Clearly, Well, anyway, yeah. Do I think they're having an identity crisis? They are directly targeting Remarkable. However, they're not just going all in. Right, we're going to sort out Remarkable and Supernote. What they're doing is they're saying you now don't need to decide between books or Remarkable and Supernote. You can have a better sort of, not better, it's the wrong word. You can have a all-in-one. You can have a device which is a bit of everything, and it still gives you that paper feeling. It still is thin and light and plastic, and not like the metal. It's not as heavy as some of those other books as well. So for people who want Google Play, but they also want paper feeling and paper light, then I think that's giving them a great option. Cool. I'm gonna yeah, it was Tasteless, yeah. And I remember just thinking that I've got a comment on this, and I just didn't comment on it, but other people did, and so that's good that it's got into our things, and everyone sort of thought, yeah, we don't necessarily want to spend $2,000 on getting an iPad that feels like paper. But e-ink tablets do something for us that the iPad can't. Cool. I'm going to I'm going to talk briefly actually about reading more recently. And I want to talk about some of the mental health benefits of reading more, which I've really noticed. Occasionally, I've been reading a lot more this year, and I've been aiming for 104 in 24. And I'm going to probably fall short of that, but I will still keep trying. And having those reading habits and building those reading habits back again has been really, really useful. And some of the tablets that I've been using, like the Bigme, have been great for that. And I've been enjoying things that you guys have recommended. And it's been great just sort of filling my head with new ideas. And I don't know if you've been watching Ed's videos, but he went through his home office, his study recently, and he showed his Jefferson reading stand, and it also talked about Jefferson's stationery set as well, which I want to see that in action on some shots soon, Ed, actually. And I just thought, that's what it's about, having these big books around, having them to be able to turn them around on this thing, to be able to be engaged in more than one book in more than 1 month, And what I read a lot and widely in different types on different devices. Like I've been having a novel on the go on the Boox Palmer, and then I've been having a graphic novel on the go on the Bigme thing, and that's been really cool actually. And my head's been full of these ideas from reading. It's like armor when you go into work, and everyone's getting frustrated, but you're not really thinking about sort of the daily frustrations of work. You're thinking about your book that you're reading and how you're going to put that into action when you get into your classroom, in my case, when you get into your meetings, in your case. That's really, really good. It's sometimes though, and it's only really sort of apparent in the contrast, like sometimes, especially around I guess the last week with this kind of exciting launch coming up, and slipping more into watching YouTube, slipping more into checking feeds and having notifications interrupting my focus. And I've really recently taken to using the do not disturb mode and having a do not disturb schedule on my phone, which has been really useful actually. It's been really nice, just limiting the kind of trash that gets fed me by that as well. Thinking about what you unsubscribe to on your email list, all of those things, do all of those things. But what's happened when I've allowed myself to slip back into that kind of more easily distracted mode, I've realized, oh yeah, it was really good to be thinking more about classics, about books that people have read for, much longer times, hundreds, I wouldn't say millions of years, but hundreds of years old sometimes, the things that I'm reading. And that's far more healthy to think about these things and work on these things and have these take up your brain than just somebody trying to interrupt your flow all the time and interrupt your focus. And on that note, I've just finished Essentialism, and it was a good book. It kind of confirmed a few of the things that I was already doing. I think Essentialism, out of all of the productivity books that I've read, Essentialism is not going to go to the top. It's going to be sort of somewhere near the middle to bottom. I liked it, but I think I've kind of thought there's two kind of categories of productivity books, I think, out there. Some of these productivity books, like Digital Minimalism, they are written by a high-level academic researcher. These tend to be the absolute classics, these guys, right? So people like Cal Newport, who's got a whole bunch of books. Digital Minimalism is the big one. Stephen Covey, who wrote 7 Habits. Fire in with any of your classic in the comments. Fire in with any of your classic productivity books, please. Yeah, and I haven't finished this one, but I'm aiming to. And I will carry on with that at some point. Atomic Habits by James Clear, really well researched, really selected some great stories to tell. And then there are productivity books that are almost like kind of fan fiction of the classics of productivity books, if that makes sense. They often use the same stories. They're still good, they're still purposeful, and they're still, people have really thought about these and put a lot of effort into writing them. I'm not deriding anybody here. And I think that Greg McKeown, who writes Essentialism, he uses that. He actually refers to some of those key books. So rather than referring, as Cal Newport does, to actual research studies by people in universities, Greg McKeown and some of these other authors, that they refer to, the popular productivity works of the books, which is fine. I did think also Greg McKeown, actually, in Essentialism, he does give his own takes on some of those great stories, which I think is entirely right. And there's a lot of times I think, I've heard this story before. Oh, but I didn't think about it like that. And that was useful. So that was really good about Essentialism. And the thing about Essentialism that has really made me enjoy it was really looking forward to the high break, and really then taking that time, as is recommended by Cal Newport, take the time to start from scratch. So I'm going to be thinking very carefully about what apps I put onto that e-ink phone when it comes into my life. And that's going to be a useful thing, just to take stock of the apps I do carry in my pocket, think about how I use them, think about what I do want to use, think about what I'll keep on something, but it'll be on a tablet at home. Actually, do I need instant access at all times to my banking? Do I need instant access to my app for my air miles or something like that? Do I need all those things on my phone with me all of the time? So that's going to be a nice point in my life, I think, to actually think, how do I use this tech? Do I want to use apps or not? So that would be interesting. I'm also really looking forward to doing a side-by-side with the High Break and the Palmer. And one thing I really, like about the new launches is getting to make new content for you, of course, because that's what I'm here to do. And I'm really, I just think this form factor has got somewhere to go. I do think it seems like the screen that's coming on the High Break isn't as good as this, and the processors aren't quite up to the same scratch as this on the Palmer. We will see. I'm going to give it a really good look for you all. I'm going to really try it out and live with it for a long time, so I can give you a recommendation of whether that e-ink phone is a goer or not. But this does have the BSR that we were talking about earlier. It does have that great screen clearing. You can just see there, this ultra fast mode. I cannot believe that is the clarity in the ultra fast mode. That is just, every time you look at a Boox device with the BSR, you think, God, that is incredible, the ultra clarity there. You want to see it sometime, and trying it side by side by something which is a few years older is going to be really instructive to you. So I'm really looking forward to making that. Just on reading before we fire on for the next bit, I've also just read M Train by Patti Smith. And if you've not listened to any of Patti Smith's novels, she reads them herself. And it's great. It's fantastic. And also So Late in the Day, which was a recommendation from somebody on the audience. Claire Keegan was a recommendation. Really enjoyed Claire Keegan's writing. Great reads there. And I'll also be carrying on my Hermann Hesse. Thank you for the instruction on how to pronounce that from the audience. Hermann Hesse, I read Narcissus and Goldmund, which was fantastic. Now, that was Narcissus and Goldmund. That was an absolutely, yeah, life-changing isn't the right word at this point in my life, but it was, you know, it was epic. It was great. It was just really, yeah, loved every moment of that. I also read my first Goethe. I read Sorrows of Young Werther. It was good, but I think I should have just jumped straight into Faust. So anyway, I've got Faust and I've got Glass Bead Game, which is Hermann Hesse, coming soon as well in that as well. Cool. Let's any other recommendations, fire in the chat, because the thing about doing that reading challenge is that it has shown me I've got lots more new things in my reading list, which I wouldn't have had if I had not done that and done it in a kind of public way. So it's been great. Thank you. Cool. I'm going to give myself a few moments to have a quick drink, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to look at the Bigme B751 next, because that has just been updated. So I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of comparison, not side by side, but I'm going to have a little another look quickly at how this is performing. And actually, one thing that they did say, the B751, is that the color ghosting performance has been improved. So let's have a little look at that together, shall we? After this word from earlier on, Kit.
Thanks so much for watching. Just watching the majority of videos, or watching all the way through videos, is an amazing way that you can help out with the channel. So thanks so much for sticking around through this live stream. I hope you find it useful and helpful. Let me know though if there's anything that you want to see more of or less of. Don't forget that by hitting that like button is absolutely free, and it does send a message to the algorithm that this is content that people find valuable, and therefore it will help it to spread to more people. So please, before we jump back into the live stream, just scroll down a bit and press that thumbs up. Let's go back to Kit live.
So absolutely, do just check that you've done that for me, please. Check your subscribe and check that you've hit like, and if you can share it out, that's the A+. You know, that's the best thing you can do for any YouTuber, is stick it somewhere and say, oh, this was great and useful video. So this is the B751. They've just released an update for it. I've just updated it, and they've said improved effect with more vibrant color and more smooth. Yeah, it is smoother. It's really nice. It actually it did do very well side by side with the Boox devices actually. So what am I in? I'm in normal fast mode. Let's go to the HD 251. Let's not make it too dark or too vivid, because I feel like I wasn't looking quite. And let's make the color brightness a little bit higher up. So this is a nice, the nice thing about this book here, this is called Displacement. It's all about people of Japanese heritage living in the States during and after the war. Lovely. That looks really good, doesn't it? Now let's speed it up a bit by putting it into the fast modes. Yeah, we definitely want that off. Nice. Okay, so that's one update. They said that the way it handles the colors, they've updated straight away. Does look good. Increased refresh rate up to 15 frames per second in normal fast mode. I don't know if I even have a video app installed on here. Do I have YouTube installed on here? No, I don't. I could get it quickly, but yeah, why not? And also it says reduced ghosting in HD and Regal mode. So I'll go back to that in a moment. I'll just go ahead and get YouTube going. Obviously never even tried that. And go back to Kindle, and it says less ghosting in HD and Regal mode. So we just tried HD. So let's have a look at Regal. And this is the plague of Kaleido 3, is the color ghosting. That's quite good now. Yeah, there's still some there. You can see that color ghosting in the middle there. You just make out that circle where the previous thing was. So you see where that circle is, and look for that same circle on this panel. Yeah, so there is still some. You can see the outlines of the previous panels there. So they clear up really well in black and white, but not so well in the color areas, unfortunately. So that's the next thing they've added. Reduce the ghosting in the HD and Regal mode. Drop down menu and settings interface have been updated with color icons. As you can see, all of these are now color icons. And the settings, I'm not going to go into settings because it will show my phone number, I think. But that is there. So they've improved the color icons as well. That's cool. Good of them. And in the reading apps as well, got color icons as well, I believe. It says, so let's go into notes. Now let's go into library. Can't see color apps in here, but fine. Have I got now YouTube? Let's see what that fast mode looks like. Normal fast, I suppose. Up to 15 frames per second in normal fast. Okay. It's going as me. Probably show me that I'm live now. Stick on someone who I hope won't give me a hard time.
The integration between Supernote and Obsidian could get easier? Well, guess what? It's just about to.
Awesome.
The new Supernote partner app.
So yeah, it looks all right actually, doesn't it? I think.
I'm going to show you.
Now, if you think I'm quite a good source of information, I hope you do anyway. So they default to volume controls. Actually, that's all right, isn't it? So that's 15 frames per second video, which is sort of the minimum that you would want to watch for any given length of time. But if you think I'm sort of useful for books use cases and things like that, then you should definitely go to Ed's channel, Organizing for Change, for information on how to use your Supernote really purposefully and well. Great channel, great resource. And where are we up to? New OCR supports one-stroke formations such as squares, triangles, and circles. That's in the Notes app. Okay, let's try that out. Oh yeah, this does not have a Wacom Myanmar stylus. Do I just hold it? Nope. Didn't get it. These things, maybe that's it. Looks like the thing, squares, triangles, and circles, yeah. But it says OCR supports one-stroke formation. OCR there. It's transcribing. Oh, maybe it's going to turn that into a square. No. I don't blame it for struggling to get any sense out of my handwriting on these pages, though. It didn't do anything with these, so I'm obviously not knowing how to access that, what they've just shown me there. Handwriting recognition in 81 languages now, they say. Let's try and write something quite neatly on the next page. And I'll OCR that. Yeah, and printing, if you're ever struggling with OCR, if you just don't join up everything, normally it does a lot better. Yep, convert. Didn't get it, didn't get anywhere near, but I don't know whether I've told it to do English or anything like that, but that's not impressive handwriting recognition so far. And then marker pen in Notes app, they say. Well, where is it then? Definitely updated and definitely on the latest firmware. It's not there. New stroke eraser function. I think that this isn't quite right because This has not got the features that they've said here. So clearly, and oh well, this will be a test of it. They said added the e-ink center to the floating ball. So let's go and find the floating ball, which is an app, isn't it? Navigation ball. Button customization. Here we go. Hasn't got e-ink center as an app. So clearly this has been a waste because although I checked that I was on the latest, firmware, it hasn't got the features that I've had there. So I'll have to revisit that after actually whenever that comes through to me as the latest firmware on this. So let's fire on with some more chat, and then I will go ahead and I'll do the last couple of bits of planned content as well. So let's have a little look in. Will we ever really get an A4 Boox, or well, we've got an A4 Boox. Will we get one from a Supernote or a Remarkable? So this is the Tab X, which I think is currently, I think that's the only A4 option from Boox. It's one of the only A4 options in all of e-ink really, apart from if you go to the Quaderno. I'd like to try a Quaderno at some point in my life. But the A4 is, yeah, it's a great way to live your e-ink life. It really is. It's big. You know, if I show that device I'm just looking at compared, if I show you the Tab, you know, well, this is an A5 device. The devices we've been talking about so far are A5 devices, and this is clearly twice that. So A4 size is great. Definitely want to see one from Supernote or Remarkable. Remarkable, I think they'll go 12-inch next rather than that. What else have we got? Bonjour indeed. Yeah, that is a really interesting way of putting it. I think I probably do. I think that's probably a good way to sort of summarize it for you. I don't think Boox are quite up to the level of Samsung in terms of the sort of fullness of their software. Actually, Samsung software, one of the reasons to stick in the Samsung market, Samsung and Android in terms of phones, is that actually their software, that what they do on top of Android allows it to be as seamless as Apple, going from one Samsung to another. So a lot of the reasons why people stick in there with Samsung is the seamless sort of update from them. I do think Boox should have that. They should think, well, oh, you appear to have bought a new Boox device. Do you want to put all the apps that you've got on your old Boox devices on here? Do you want to bring all of your data from your old devices? And I think that would be a useful thing for them to actually have. But they don't have that every time you're starting from scratch, and that would be a useful thing. How do I think the white point compares to the backlight off between them? I don't know which two devices we're talking about there. But yeah, there is an issue with that with some of them. And certainly the black and white ink, I mean, I think I've got the light off here. Look how great that looks with the light off there. And so with the 10.3, the Go 10.3, a lot of the time you won't miss having the light as well. Yes, it will have the new user interface that I showcased in my Boox Go 10.3. And it's the one you saw on the black and white note earlier on as well. So it'll be just exactly the same. Yeah, it is painful sharing stuff from the Scribe. I do wish they would sort that out. Yeah, got the Nova Air 2 and the Kindle Scribe. Great, idea. And I do think that's a good thing. If you think you want sometimes you think, oh, I want a book. Sometimes I think I want a Supernote. We'll buy a big one of one brand and a little one of the other brand. I think is a good sort of shout, really. When do I think Boox will? I think Boox will this autumn. That's my prediction. If they can, I think they will. I think they won't want to be sort of left behind in that share of the market there. So many hands-on devices. Have I encountered durability issues? No, none of them are broken at all. I was gutted. I brought the Tab Ultra C out on a live stream recently, Tab Ultra C Pro, and the Wacom didn't work for like half the time, and then it was just absolutely fine. After that, I was like, what happened? It just got stage fright. But durability, no. I have also skated some of them across the floor at times. I've dropped them. No, I haven't had a single one of these e-ink tablets. Maybe I've just been absolutely lucky. None of them have broken. Kindles have never done well. Yeah, my books are still absolutely sharp. Yeah, Thanks, buddy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rem notes, yeah, if generates flashcards, great. Note F3 would be ideal for a student. I think that's probably the sweet spot for student right now, although I think the Go 10.3 will probably be really good as well. You can't add an SD card to the 10.3. No, you can to the Go 7. Rest of Europe is done voting now. Absolutely. Right. Yeah, go with the 10. I worry the Go 10.3 not having a front light would affect late night reading without direct light source. How do you think the well, can you see one out? Okay, in low lighting. Yeah, sure. Okay. You know, in low lighting, if you can read a piece of paper comfortably, I think you'll be able to read e-ink without, without that extra gap as well, without the extra layer for that as well. You're going to have good clarity here. It's one of the latest screens as well, so you're going to have good clarity. I think reading low light on these things is going to be absolutely fine. Hesitant to buy before I've seen full reviews from yourself and Boyer, but with quite small runs, it'll be too late to buy in the UK. Sold out already. Yeah, I know. That's a difficult one, isn't it? And I do wish that the future for books, I hope the future for books is that they can be more like Samsung and they can keep devices around for longer. The fact that you can still buy a brand new 2-year-old like S22 Ultra, I don't know exactly that you can do that, but generally with Samsung and Apple, you can buy devices that are a little bit older, or you can decide to buy a line and then choose the specification you want within that line. I do think that's hopefully for the future of that as well. Yeah, curious whether e-ink will ever be the place for an all-in-one until the technology catches up to the screen. Yeah, I hope so. I hope laptops. I hope that kind of 12-inch that I alluded to earlier. I hope now that we're getting Windows on ARM, is it going to be easier for books and people to port their e-ink kind of algorithms onto those? That could be really cool, couldn't it? Imagine a Snapdragon X Elite or something with a e-ink would be absolutely great. Yeah, I love this. I would love to. I mean, I wish I had time in my life. Maybe when my kids are a bit older to build one of those things. Wouldn't it be cool? Yeah, books. Wow, you're doing really well. 41 in 20. Oh, wow, 49 so far. Yeah, good, cool. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I quite like Kindle Unlimited, because you can pick things up and not worry so much that you're not going to finish something as well. So, and people like Libby as well for ebooks to read those. Great. Hey, great. Glad to have you writing in. An artist with a big relation to drawing. Drawing is a big process. Love to find a good ink drawing tablet. I honestly think right now, I think the Supernote is the best because it's got the best software for drawing. And I showed that a little bit earlier on in the stream. For me, because the problem is you can't just use any third-party app, because the way the e-ink screen works, it's slow to refresh. It's if you use something like SketchUp, then if you use something like Autodesk Sketchbook, then the problem is you touch the pen to the screen and it takes a while to update, so you get this poor latency. But this app is really great because you've got some really great options with pens, and you've also got the option to do layers. So you can see here the way I drew this one was I started by doing a pencil kind of outline layer, sketch the thing out. Then I went, and I used one of the pencils. I would have used a 2B probably, but I often work up through this like I would. These are the different grades of pencil, like I would with the real sketchbook. And then I went ahead and I did with the spray can, I did a sort of tonal layer, sort of mid-tone layer. So let me show you adding that mid-tone on. There we are. And I actually moved that mid-tone below my pencil line, so it's a lower down layer. And then finally, I added on top, I added a pen layer, an ink layer. In fact, I have used a darker pencil, I think, there rather than pen, but I added like a deeper tonal layer there as well. So I think that they are currently, they're the best, and no doubt the A5X2 will be great for drawing as well. So hope that answers that question for you there, Ruben. I think right now drawing on the Supernote is the best. And if you look at my London special, it's something I said, this is the one reason why Supernote is actually ahead. I think they're ahead on the software. They're ahead on the bespoke e-ink software. And certainly their note-taking app is great as well. So lots to love about the Supernotes. Okay, should we fire in? I've got one more bit of chat. Then I'll probably take a break, really, really short one. And then I'll go through the whole big Boox lineup with you as well. So what I wanted to talk about briefly, I wanted to talk about influencers working with brands. And we've had a couple of chats about this so far, and I'm interested to know your opinion. So do fire in if you're not sure, if you want to say something about it as well. So I'm about to talk through all of the Boox devices, and the reason I can do that is because Boox have sent me lots of devices to work on. Okay, and they haven't told me to make any specific content. They haven't ever said make this and say this or anything like that. They've never exerted. Hopefully we're still going. We're still going. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me just get everything back up. You teleport. But I'm back. Oops. Apologies. Hopefully I'm back. Let me know that I'm back and I'm in. Yeah, cool. Right. I'm back in. Right. Okay. So let me just get the extra camera and everything ready as well. Apologies for that, everybody. And this one here. It's been a good chat so far, so we don't want to leave it there. Right. Okay. So, okay. Thank you. We're back. I'm back now. Okay. Back in. Where was I? So, yeah, I'm not sponsored by Boox or anything in that respect, but they have sent me these things, and they haven't said make this specific video. I couldn't make this content. I couldn't make this content without that relationship. So I want to just talk about that as well. But I do think it's odd that we spend a lot of time making this kind of content, and one thing that we're incentivized to do is to entice people to click. And I think that, okay, we click on adverts on YouTube. Now, this isn't an advert specifically, but certainly it is involved in the whole, it's involved in the whole process of Boox marketing. It's involved in the whole process of tech being sold to consumers. And it's hilarious. Thank you. I'm not gonna. There's no secrets. The only secrets are in advance of releases. For instance, I did know about the Go 7 and Go 10.3 for about 10 days before you knew about it, and that was to allow me to plan my strategy and plan what I was going to share. So there is that, and that's the only agreement that I actually have had with them, apart from affiliate sales, which is another thing I'll talk about in this little section. That's the only agreement I've had is an NDA saying I can't talk about it until a certain time. And I do need to obviously make money. I need to be able to have the time to make this content. I'm going down to less than 2 days a week at work next year. And I still want to be a professional and bring you a use case of a professional next year. But I do obviously need to make content. And, the links in the description, there's a small percentage that I earn from those. If you buy through those, there's no extra cost to you. Often I can get you a discount as well if you go through affiliate links. But there's no control from the brands. Nothing I have to say to get that agreement. So that for me isn't sponsored content. The sending of the devices, I kind of feel like I don't really own them. I'm kind of on long-term loan of them. They're there so that I can make the content as well. And I haven't been told you must make a video every month or you must make a review that says this for you to have that. If they'd said that, it would be sponsored content. So, but as I was saying, we're incentivized to make it click-worthy. And some really long-standing creators, long-standing reviewers are now creating almost exclusively sponsored content. And it's a very odd thing to see some of these massive, totally, huge influencers actually making purely sponsored content. And of course, they need to do that. And there's nothing wrong with sponsored content. I'd make sponsored content quite happily. I probably wouldn't. If Boox said we want to sponsor you to review something, I'd probably say no, because you know, you need to know that I'm a credible reviewer of devices like these. This is my main wheelhouse, is talking about e-ink tablets. To be sponsored by one of those companies would be a bit of a kind of conflict of that interest. So I'm trying to bring you the best content for you. I'm trying to add highly valuable analytical content, conclusions based on solid research. I'm trying to give you quality journalism. That's what I'm trying to bring to you. And I have to put the time and effort to do that. And so the money is kind of the as you put it there, thank you very much. The compensation allows me to actually make that content. I think that's the most important thing you need to know about it, is I'm aiming to improve my content. I'm not aiming just to rake it in, and I certainly would never want to be branded as, you know, scammy or sort of selling something that things weren't real. So it's very important that I sort of maintain that kind of credibility. And yeah, but still, you know, I kind of think, am I making an advert here, or am I making something for somebody else sometimes? And I think what's odd is one of the most celebrated videos on YouTube, I don't know if you know, is it's Casey Neistat video about running, and he took the sponsorship money and he just ran. He literally, the premise of this video was like, Nike gave us this amount of money, and so me and my friend just bought plane tickets and went around the world. It's an incredible video, an absolutely incredible video. The product was absolutely secondary, maybe even tertiary in that video. You know, like the video is one of the most loved videos that is out there, and yet it's an advert. It's a piece of sponsored content, isn't it? You know, isn't it like odd that we love this content? Even Mr. Beast's first brand deal, he said, well, give me £10,000 and I'll give it to somebody. I'll give it to a homeless person, and that'll be the content. You know, that's what he did. His first brand deal was just to go out. Here's the £10,000 this brand has paid me. What's your reaction? You know, like, and he just gave it away. You know, and that is like, it's really odd, isn't it? How what creators are doing with that kind of money coming into individuals. Like, sure, like Casey Neistat doing the Nike advert, Mr. Beast doing whatever that was an advert for. We don't remember what the product was. We remember the video though, and me in this smaller scale, managing to make a living from these things and thinking very carefully about the kind of content that I bring you. But recently, I've seen the Snapdragon X Elite processor, this sponsored videos for that, and I feel like all of them have been really authentic. Like, Linus has made one, Austin Evans has made one, made several actually. But it's odd that you know that they're sponsored videos, yet they've made them feel very, very authentic, and they're so very excited about the Snapdragon X Elite. They probably are quite excited about the Snapdragon X Elite, but I'm kind of aware that the interest that I have in it has been kind of shaped by all I've seen of it being this kind of sponsored content. It's often harder to spot a sponsored written article than it is a sponsored YouTube video, because YouTubers are totally upfront about it. Yeah, I'm sponsored by this person. It's great that they're working with me on this thing. Thanks so much for them for partnering with me and all of those things. And it's just sort of part of it. Like, you're on their team, like you guys are clearly on the team as well. And you really like, you know, you're glad for me, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to, you know, I'm getting the support like this, like, I mean, luckily, Julie, it doesn't happen very often. Luckily, very few people say that type of thing. And most people are like, yeah, actually, isn't it good that Boox is working, you know, rather than pumping it into adverts that you might see against another thing, just, you know, increasing the viewership of their own content, actually putting it out there to people like me who are really enthusiastic about the whole e-ink space. You know, it's really, really good. So there's really, really good things as well. And I'd say I'm not even going to be interested if I can't trust their reviews. But I don't know, have you read a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini? It's an absolutely great video, absolutely great video. And we're sort of investigating, we're looking at buying some solar cells for our house. I don't know if anyone's put solar cells in their house at home. And this company that we looked at said, oh, we've got a great deal for you, but you have to act fast, otherwise the deal's going to be gone. And this is one of these tactics that Robert Cialdini says in the book Influence, and it's a selling tactic. And okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine for them to do that. But what's important for you as a consumer is that you know that that is how you're being sold to, and to make sure that you know that you're buying for an objective reason rather than you're buying because you've been sold, by that sales trick. So know that, all right, you watch that really exciting piece of content from Linus or somebody like that. They're telling you this is going to change the industry. This is absolutely brilliant. But know that, if you're straight onto the buying page, give yourself that moment to calm down. Oh no, I have just watched an advert, a great video, a good piece of content. I have just watched an advert and I need to pause and make sure I'm buying it for the right reasons. And that's the real message. Influence is a great book. Yeah, that's the real message of Influence, is just know how you're being sold to, and don't be manipulated. Be one of the manipulators and actually use their things, use their tricks against them. So what I would say to that company, they're trying to use that pressure selling tactic, say, okay, well, that's great, thanks for that offer, but now I know that's the price. So if I ever want to work with you, that's the price I'll be expecting. And they'll probably say, yeah, sure, because clearly they're willing to sell at that price. So as I said, I'm going to talk now about Boox. After giving myself another 30 seconds, I'm going to talk now about Boox, a company that I'm not sponsored by, but I'm very glad to work with and to bring you the comparisons of their videos. They send me these things because they know that I make these kind of videos where I talk about their devices in detail, answer questions, and I couldn't do that without having them in the room. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much for joining the live stream or for watching the replay. Just being here and watching the majority of the videos is a really, really useful way to help my channel grow. But if you want to say thanks in a really simple but also meaningful way, it's just to share out my videos like this one. Just copy the link from the browser or press the share button on your phone and copy the link, then paste it into wherever you discuss e-ink tablets. A group on Facebook, a Reddit subreddit, or a Discord server. Pop that link in there and say, Kit's demonstrating e-ink tablets live. Jump in. Again, I love hanging out with you people and I appreciate you spending your time watching these live streams. I really enjoy making them with you.
Thank you very, very much. Just having a little read of some of your things that you've said there, and some of them really very kind. I love this one as well. This one, I put a section for kit suggestions for books. Yeah, definitely do that. Fazal, yeah, absolutely. Glad you're enjoying it. Sometimes a sponsorship deal doesn't let you trash a product if you're supposed to advertise. But in that case, honestly, YouTube should just turn down. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the few kind of sponsorships that I've done have always been companies that I've been happy to promote. And I've never, ever, I would never say, one thing I would never say is this is a review if there's been money behind that video. And if there's been any control in any way over that, I wouldn't ever call it a review. If you see the word review, then you should always know on YouTube that it's not a sponsored video. And if that sure, it might be sponsored by somebody, but it certainly shouldn't be that company. And yeah, companies do try and get people to sign to say that they won't trash a product. Absolutely. And they do try. I've got one actually right now to film in the next couple of days. A company sent me a product and they said, and please include this bit of text in the video. And I said, no, absolutely no way I'm including that text. If you want to include that text, then I can make you a sponsored video talking about your thing, but it won't be a review if you want me to review it. And I said, I'd much rather just review it, please. And if you want to talk about integrating that sponsorship in later, then we can do that. It's just, yeah, people just have to be ethical about these things. And absolutely, I think it's great to do a video about a bad product if you demonstrate what's bad about it, yeah, and save consumers from regretting their spends. Yes, the interesting thing, Lizzie, is like negative reviews. The negative reviews have got a bad write-up recently with big YouTubers like MKBHD. Actually, people saying, oh, he destroys startups. Well, he said it's a bad product, and absolutely, you should do that. The interesting thing for me about the most negative reviews that I've made are almost always the lowest performing videos that I've made as well. And so I kind of, if I discover something is not a good product, then I'll make that quick first thoughts video, and then I'll tell you it's not a good product, and I probably won't make a full review on it. If I'm going to be quite incredibly negative, I'll probably reach out to the brand and tell them that and give them that feedback first, so that I can check that I'm not getting something wrong with it. I'm not doing something wrong myself. gives them a chance to respond. And often I'll say, look, I don't think I should make the review because I just don't think it's useful for anybody. Okay, let's look at this then. Let's look at the books lineup. Make sure I'm in the right position. I think, yeah, I want to show you this website. Sorry. Okay, I want to show you first of all, when you go onto the Boox website, here's something that you can do. They've got a little questionnaire. So they've got their series quite nicely laid out here, and you can go to Boox tablets in here, and you can actually sort of go through the different series in there. Okay, and I'm going to go through those in a moment. But if you scroll down on the home page, you now get to find suitable products, and it will work out its best fit for you. And you can just go compare products. So if you go to the compare products, then you can sort by, what's the best selling. And that's good to know that the best selling is the Note Air 3C and the 10.3 lineup. People wonder why there's so many 10.3 tablets. Well, it's because they are the best sellers. And you can scroll down this way, and you can also sort by, price, and you can filter by size. So these are different screen sizes they've got. You can sort by whether it's got BSR or not. Oops. There we are. There's all the options with the BSR look. And so you can, I definitely recommend going and having a little bit of a play about with these and thinking about what you need, really. Okay. But also on the Boox homepage, they've now added a little questionnaire. Find suitable products. And you can ask you some questions. I'm just going to go through this one. So I'll go through me first of all, and let's see if it gets to the same place that I would. I'm buying an e-ink tablet for work. I think I prefer large, but I really know that in my bag, going forwards and backwards to work, I'm going to need to pick medium. What do I want to do? I want to use third-party apps, but really I want to know, third-party apps. I want to use Google Drive, Microsoft Office, Trello, things like that. What am I most interested in? Am I interested in something that's more like a PC? More versatile, smoother, help you get work done. A laptop-like experience? Yes, please. It's obviously going to come back with the Tab Ultra C Pro. Here we are. It actually says best fit is the Tab Ultra. Interesting. And when I click on the Tab Ultra, should let me order now. Unavailable. So here's one of the issues right now with that. Well, let's see the Tab Ultra C Pro. Available. There we are. Hooray. There's a couple of times when that happens. So if I go and do another sort of work through from here, and I suggest you go ahead and have a little work through here, but you'll get to the same conclusion as me, that, well, they've said best fit is the Tab Ultra, but it wasn't available. So I'm going to go for the Tab Ultra C Pro. And I do think, actually, incidentally, that the color screen is useful for apps and things as well. So if I go back to the home page and I do that questionnaire again, let's think about another type of person. Somebody who might want it for school, somebody who wants actually a compact one, somebody who wants to read and take notes, and somebody who's interested in more like a tablet-like experience. Okay, see the results. Oh, great. It's going to be the Nova Air 2 or the Nova Air C. Wonderful. They seem great. Okay, good prices. Okay, actually, I don't need color for reading and writing as a student, whichever I'm in. Order that one then. Unavailable. Sold out. And okay, I'll have the Nova Air C then. Sure thing. Unavailable. So, unfortunately, there are issues there. So I'm going to try and limit this discussion that I'm going to go for now. I'm going to try and limit it to just working with the ones that are actually available right now. So we'll check that. And yeah, there we are. It's a useful idea. I don't know why Tab Mini C isn't showing up on that, because that is the only 7.8 at the minute that they have with Wacom EMR, which is actually available. So they do need to have a little think about that and make sure that it's showing up things that you can actually buy. And I think if the products if they're not bringing out more of those products and making them available, and maybe the demand is just so high and they are, and they're just quickly selling out, then they need to not be in that kind of questionnaire there, don't they? There's some really cool comments going on, and having a really good chat in the thing, which is really lively. Thank you very much for your participation in tonight's live stream. So let's get up the books itself now, and yeah, there we are. And let's have a little look through the thing, and I'll sort of switch back to that view every now and then to sort of show you the thing. So these are the different sizes of screen that are available in Boox: 5.7 inch, sorry, 5.8 inch, 7 inch, 7.8, 10.3. and 13.3. So first of all, there is only one 5.8 inch. That's this one. This is the Boox Palmer. And really, I would say, don't expect this to do much for you in your life apart from reading. Okay. That one is, it's a really good device, in my opinion, for that one simple purpose. There it is. If I just click on that one, yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. So the Boox Palmer, great reader. Is it available right now? It should be. It's been really, really popular out there for palm-sized reading. The only thing it isn't is a phone. Looks exactly like a phone. So, but that is not cheap, is it? $280. Let's say, okay, $280 for that. When the high break is going to be sort of $180, something like that, to get a Boox Palmer for that, and knowing that you can't, no note taking on that, you can't really do lots of productivity things on that, although you can install any Android app that you want on there, that you can on a phone, so that's fine. Now in the 7 inch, right now there's the Go Color 7. The Go Color 7 is again only going to be a reader because there's no note taking on that. Now I will also look whether you can actually still buy the page, which is the black and white version of that. So if I go Boox tablets, Go series, the Go Color 7 is the color e-reader. No note taking capability at all. That's the one there, and hopefully I'll have some content on that soon. That's actually 200 and is this 40 or 249? So £250. That's actually cheaper than the Palmer with a color screen. I mean, they've really done one on that one, haven't they? They've really gone for that line in the market. Have we got the e-readers page? Is that still available? Yep, it's still available. So the black and white page is 220. So that's your cheapest way into a reader for books. They also have, incidentally, so they do have another smaller one, e-reader. They've got a Poke 5, which that's the cheapest way, and that's less than 5.8 inch. There, so I'll just pop that in there. That's the Kindle sized one, if you like. That's the cheapest one, $180. Okay, so there we are. Those are the smaller ones. No note-taking devices of that size. No real productivity devices of that size for books. Next one, then, the 7.8 inch. I think I'm right in saying that the only thing that you can actually get in a 7.8 inch right now is the Tab Mini C. Okay, is it available? Yeah, it's available. So Tab Mini C, I would call that a note taker personally, but really it can kind of go across all of these. It could be a reader. It could also be a bit of a productivity device here as well. Although mainly I would suggest it's going to be a reader. And that one is basically $400 now. Wow. Not cheap to go up to that sort of size. Do they have anything else of that size actually available? If we use their kind of comparison thing, because they've got a lot of other products of this size, but whether they're current is another question. Filter 7.8. The Nova Air 2 is the only two they're showing, and that one's sold out. So they have no black and white in this kind of 7.8 inch size. This is the US website, so that some of these might be in stock on the UK and EU one. So really, if you want 7.8 inch right now, you've got to get a color in Boox, and it has to be the Tab Mini C. Really good device. You know, I've got a long bit of content on that, lots of content on that as well. So now going up to the most popular size, and actually these are really quite, you know, nicely spread out along here. Although I wouldn't say any of these were kind of pure readers. But let's have a little look where how they kind of categorize them. So if I go back into the suitable products, if we go for home, medium, reading, what do they suggest? Tablet. They suggest a Note. So they actually suggest the Note series are the best for reading. So we would say really we haven't got anything which is just a reader in here at the I wasn't showing you the right thing, was I? When I break the Tab Mini, see it goes across the whole thing here. At the 10.3, we don't have anything that goes for just reading in the 10.3, but that makes sense here. But for notes, you have then lining up, I think you have the Note, funny enough, the Note Air 3 and the Note Air 3C. Great devices. The Note Air 3C has BSR and the Note Air 3 doesn't. And they're saying we recommend the color over the first as the best fit, because perhaps for reading comics, color might be really useful for us. So can you get that at the minute? The Note Air 3C is $500. Yeah, it's available. And the Note Air 3 is also available, and it's $400. And for all of these, you're getting cases and styluses as well, incidentally. So add that into your thinking. Now, also in this one, in this category here, notes for 10.3, you've also now got the Go 10.3, which will be $380. So slightly undercuts that, no front light or anything like that as well. So I think that's quite good. Now you've also got productivity wise, if I again go through this and sort of, well, I'll do it this way, shall I? Compare $10.3, so what have we got? So Note Air 2 Plus is sold out, Tab Ultra is sold out, Tab Ultra C is sold out, all the Note Air 2, Note 5, they're long gone. Got the Boox 10.3 for pre-order. We do have the Tab Ultra C Pro, so you do have this one extra option across here, Tab Ultra C Pro. Sorry, you weren't looking at the website that I was at the time. So this is all the 10.3. See, they're still listing them, but anything beyond, you really only currently got Note Air 3, Note Air 3C, Tab Ultra C Pro. All of these are sold out, look, sold out, and then the Go 10.3 there. So you've got 4 options. You've got most options in the 10.3. Order now, Tab Ultra C Pro, $650, but you want the keyboard cover bundle probably. So I'm going to put the both on there. $650, but actually you want the keyboard cover bundle, and it's not cheap then, $740 to get that keyboard with keyboard. $740 to get that. Now, here we are. You know, that's not cheap at all, but that's what I'd be going for. If I knew when I first started buying ink tablets, and if I knew what I knew now, and it was right now, I would know that in my life I wanted to spend that amount of money to get a note-taking tablet with the keyboard accessory, and I would know that the right thing for me, for my personal use case, would be that Tab Ultra C Pro with the keyboard case. It would be worth that amount to me. It's a little bit less than that in pounds, but you know, that's the amount I'd be willing for that incredible BSR technology. Whether really the right thing would be to buy that right this second now, or wait for something else to come along, I don't know. But if something else comes along, it is not, which is more like this with the keyboard case, it's certainly not going to be any cheaper than that is going to be. So lastly, the 13.3. And I think I'm right in saying there's only one tablet in this size right now. Whether that is even available is another question. Yeah, Max Lumi 2's out. Okay, there are screens. I'm not going to go into the 2 screens at the minute, but they're sold out anyway. Tab X. And they've actually put the Tab X in the productivity, although really, I personally think it's more of an amazing note taker. I'll put it across here. So you could certainly set it up with a keyboard sort of static position in your life and type with a keyboard. It would be amazing for that. But because it doesn't have the color as well, apps don't run so well on it. And how much is that right now? $880. And all of the others are not available. So there we are. That's your lineup really for books. I hope that was useful. Let me know if that was useful for you guys. Yeah, I'll give myself just a tiny bit longer just to grab a drink, and then let's have a quick chat.
So I just dropped the live stream for a few seconds to tell you something which might surprise you. Did you know that most of the people who watch my channel aren't actually subscribed? Even people that are regular viewers. What's that about? No worries, but really, channels like mine, it really does help with the way that robots decide who to send my videos out to. So take a moment to scroll down and check whether your button says subscribed or subscribe. If it says subscribe, then just click it and let's get back into the live stream.
I don't know how it happened again. There we are. I don't know how I managed to do that again. But okay, so do take a moment to subscribe. Thank you very much earlier on me. I don't know if that finished playing before I sort of dropped the feed again. Let's have a quick look through what you guys are asking. Any questions, fire in now, and let's go ahead and look at that. Was that useful looking through the whole books lineup? Which one would you get? Wow, this is an interesting. Poke 5 is heavily underrated. Yeah, I've never tried one of the Poke devices at all. I'm sure it'll be absolutely great. Lots of really good chat. Needed a SD card and then Go 10.3. That's a reason to go up to the Note Air 3, isn't it? Otherwise, looking at the next Supernote. I like this, yeah. Create a project, take notes, mark items for a general to-do list. This should autofill from all projects. Is there a tablet that can do this? No, I think the Supernote to-do lists are going to get there. The way I use that is I use star marks, and then you can see all your star marks within a notebook in the Supernote. That's why I do that. Best device for academic reading in 2 columns is definitely the Tab X, just because of the sheer size of it. You know, if you've got a 2-column view there, although you do get great article mode and all books tablets in the reader, which is really, really great. So any of the books ones are really good. Let's go a little bit higher up. Yeah, Rad. Yeah, thank you. That's one of the reasons I was talking about it as well. That was with trips, wasn't it? He was talking about being flown out to places. And again, wouldn't it be great if a company said to you, "We're going to fly you out," but then you get a whole bunch of you say, "Here's the camera for you to test out for the next 6 weeks. It's brand new. No one's had it before. You guys are the lucky few," and everyone's really excited. And you've just heard. All you've heard about it is their presentation about why it's really, really good. And then they go ahead and they make some really, really cool video where they're out and about in these cool places. And actually you end up with the same video sort of 20 times and everyone's really enthusiastic. And then they get home and they test it out and they actually find out what's wrong with it. So one of the things I really think about what I do now, is I'm a journalist. I'm a lot of things, but one of the things that I am is a journalist, and my journalism is trying these things out on your behalf. And I do think when I read a lot of reviews, especially early on, when people put out reviews after only having tried out the device for less than a day, sometimes, then I find that I just think that's poor journalism. And I think journalism is live in such a way, keep a journal, keep a record of your thoughts, and then share your thoughts in a kind of finished, polished bit of writing. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's possibly one of the reasons why I've been thinking so much about this. Never seen you live. Yeah, good to have you live. Thank you. Academic reading A4 papers. Definitely Tab X is going to be amazing. Yeah, smooth scrolling, everything like that. The Tab X is brilliant. We all are hoping for a color version soon. We're all hoping that they come up with something which is a bit more like a larger sort of PC style, but that wouldn't be cheap anyway. So let's have a little look. Saying not quite finished. Yeah. Doesn't compete with, absolutely, Lizzie, you're right. Yeah, kind of way of trusting a project. Yeah, divided between the Go 7 and the Palmer. Yeah, that would be hard. I think you want the Palmer basically if you know you want to fit it in your trouser pocket. Somebody mentioned that, but I'm pretty sure it's a plastic case. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not infallible, but I think that's how they've managed to make it so light, basically. Go back to Bookshop. I am pretty certain. I must be pressing a button somewhere that I'm not sure I'm pressing. My browser's doing something funny at the minute. It's like downloading it. Okay, well, I'll leave that, but I'm pretty sure it's plastic anyway. I think that's what I've had to do to get it so light. A5X2 will continue to use the current software, yeah. Might not be able to compete. Yeah, but that software is constantly being developed. So actually, when you buy an A5X2, know that you're going to buy the current Supernote for the next sort of 4 years at least. And that the device you end up with in terms of their development of the software will be a lot better than it is now, but it's already really good. So it's already really great. And what they'll do is they'll continue to develop it with their community. Now, one thing we were talking about is that there's the ability to put Linux onto the A5X2. And we were thinking that maybe the community should be given the job of managing Linux, the Linux ones. And just actually you could have custom distros and things like that. It would be absolutely fabulous with Supernote. People would do that. So yeah, hopefully we've answered that one about academic reading. Yeah, I think that they're very different devices. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Supernote is only about e-ink ready apps. Yeah, you're absolutely right there. And I think that now they've got side loading on Supernote, it's important just to be selective and not try to think that you're going to want to do everything on there, because you're not. Cool. Yeah, Boox, I'm sure we'll have a thorough look at the competitors' apps. That's one thing that they do. Really give you a good to-do app. But again, the thing is, you can always, with Boox, you can add any to-do app that you like. But okay, it's a slower processor, sure, but for reading and writing, it's fine. You know, it's only when you want to snap between apps and use Microsoft apps and things like that that you need all that processing power. And I do want to do those things, so I want a high processor. Was that useful, having that look through the Boox things? Some really good chat about whether you need graphics novels. Yeah, people helping out each other with their analysis paralysis. Yeah, exactly. You know, that it's going to be difficult to choose a Palmer soon unless they heavily discount it, if that high break is anywhere near as good as this device in terms of the screen performance. Yeah, I would say don't be, Luca. That don't be too much. I think if you're only wanting black and white, stick black and white, because it is that bit better. But actually, with the Kaleido free screens that I use, generally, I actually aim to use the front light as less as possible, and it is fine in well lit kind of environments. And then I just turn it on when I sort of need to see color accuracy in content, because it does look a bit better, a bit more vibrant. But generally, I've just been trying to use real, you know, just surrounding lights anyway, and it's been working just fine. Yeah, it's just so like you need some light if you want to read, obviously, in complete darkness. No, unfortunately they don't. Yeah, they don't have a digest mode. That would be really useful. Do have some really nice reading modes in terms of using color highlighting to change, to categorize your highlights and things like that. That's really cool. More streamlined than remarkable. You find yourself wishing for that. Drawing doesn't feel anywhere near as good as advertised. Yeah, it kind of, like I thought when I first started drawing with that, I thought that's absolutely great for drawing. But now I realize that it's just the processing power is just so far behind the others that they've made updates to the software, and the processor just can't keep up really. And it is good, but it isn't as good, anywhere near as good as the Supernote now is with the Atelier app that they have. Exciting times for you. You're going to have a great time with that one. Yeah, absolutely. And people love to see actually in stores. Yeah. I don't think there'll be a new Air for a little while. I kind of expect they won't update the Ultra for a little while now. I think there might be a bigger Ultra. Tab X Ultra. I hope that'll be soon. We'll see. Yeah. But remember two things. Firstly, you'll have return periods. So look at the return period, and actually, if you buy like really close to a new launch, you can take advantage of the return period. And secondly, once you have bought one, you've bought that device and you'd be happy with it, and you don't kick it out because there's some new release. Every year, twice every year, the big smartphone manufacturers, they release new and updates to their phones, but you buy a phone, you expect to keep it for a certain amount of time. And this is a good follow-up question here. A reasonable life cycle for these devices is more like 5 years. So if you buy a Note Air 3C, then love it for what it is for the next 5 years and enjoy them putting out new things, but don't think that you've not got a really good device when that happens. So, just be aware of that. And if you're someone who knows that actually you're going to immediately get the disappointment when somebody releases a new one, then accept that you're someone who's always going to have to buy devices at the moment they're released. And if you buy a device at the moment you release, you've got the longest time with that being the sort of cutting edge. Accept that. You're going to pay a bit of a premium for that. But go ahead and say, well, I know then I'm going to buy, I know, all right, the next time Boox release a 10.3, well, just have. So right now, if you like, buy the device and then know that you're getting that as early as possible, and you're going to have the longest lifespan with that, and the longest time when that's the brand new one, the one that everyone wants, and the one that is the kind of cutting edge, and then just accept that something will come along, but you still had the most time with that. Or go the other way and actually say to yourself, well, I'll wait for the next release and I'll actually buy the previous one. Difficulty is with books is you can't often do that because they're sort of limited runs and there's limited numbers of these things. They're in such demand that you can kind of, that once they release a new one, it's because they've run out of the actual of the previous one. So anyway, I hope that kind of helps. You've got to accept yourself, haven't you? That actually, if you're someone who kind of like buys a thing and wants to know they've got the very tip top, then accept that you're going to be buying things all the time, and that's fine. Sell them secondhand, give them second life to other people, or just buy when they're bargains and accept that they're going to be good and you're happy with them. Cool. Really, really. Really great chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, had a light book. Yeah, unfortunately they've gone under, haven't they? It's time for that one to go. 6 years. Good though, isn't it? Yeah, it's ready for its final send off, I think. Good combo there, Tab Ultra and Tab Mini C. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree to a certain extent, but then the color makes those devices easier to work in apps, so there's this trade-off constantly, isn't there? Yeah, I want to thank you for being here, Jim. Good to have you all here. We just had one, so it might not be for a little while now. I think that they'll probably release some. This is their kind of summer release. So most companies have a spring or a summer and then an autumn. So think about that. Like there'll be October, November. A lot of companies release things. This time, end of May, start of June. This time, so it's late spring. is also the sort of release time. So those two, autumn and late spring, really are the 2 times you get things released in the tech world. Thank you. Awesome. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks so much for spending the time with me then, everybody. And I will look forward to seeing you all again soon. And as ever, carry on firing away in the comments, share this out, and everyone, please just keep asking any questions because it all helps me shape the content and how things go forward. And I've got some cool plans coming up soon. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you in the future.